Good morning, League fans. My name is Steve Mascord, and I'm coming to you today from Salford Quays. Why am I in Salford Quays in Manchester, you may ask? I'm here for the Salford Media Day. I've been doing a tour. If you've been following the program, Good Morning League fans, you've been following it, you know that I've been doing a tour of English club media days. However, the following email arrived yesterday. Following discussion to protect our players in the club's current situation and ongoing investment negotiations, the club and Rugby League Commercial have decided to cancel any press attendance at today's media day. A rescheduled date will be confirmed in the near future. My apologies for any inconvenience caused. Well, that means they're still having media day without the media, right? So if I walk over to where I am now, just the other side of the Quays there, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, I imagine the players will still all be there getting their headshots done for the, be photos taken, just no interviews conducted. So, interesting times. Salford, of course, for those who aren't caught up with that, they are in a lot of financial trouble. They got an advance on their central funding, and they're hoping to sell a club so they don't have to sell players. I don't have to sell £800,000 worth of players. So many thoughts about this. so many. I mean, the whole transfer system where clubs, like Salford, rely on transfer fees to pay the bills in some circumstances. It's just... it undermines the product. So the product you're selling to TV companies is undermined by your own disciplinary measures against clubs who can't, balance their books. It just seems, like I said, I like the more socialist models of professional sport from the New World, like Australia and the US, where everyone gets so much. Where your wages bill is covered by central funding, I know that's not the case in this country because rugby league doesn't attract enough TV rights. But, maybe that indicates that it shouldn't be a full-time professional sport. I don't know. Anyway, further to that, we have the Brisbane Broncos denying that they are in fact interested in taking over the London Broncos. Again, I would go back to what I've said in the last two programs. I think Gary Hetherington from Leeds Rhinos is interested in saving the London Broncos, and I think he is looking for investment in Australia. But I think one way or another he's in, whether he gets the investment in Australia or not. I think the Brisbane Broncos are a bit of a smoky here. They're a bit of camouflage to what's really going on. The chairman of the Broncos, Carl Morris, has said, "It's the first I've heard of it. I've understood there are people in Australia. There is zero interest from us in an international football franchise." Dave Donaghy, who I know from covering games for AAP all those years ago, he's a former journo. I'm aware he's a CEO at the Broncos. I'm aware of interest from English clubs seeking investment from their Australian counterparts, but to be clear, ownership of a UK club is not something the Brisbane Broncos are considering right now. So there you go. So today, I was at Leigh today. And after the break, you're going to hear from Umyla Hanley. You're going to hear from Adrian and Lachlan Lam. And you're going to hear from the very young winger from Newcastle, David Armstrong. All got some really interesting stuff to say on various things you'd expect me to ask them about, like the PNG franchise. And in David Armstrong's case, his sort of messy departure from the Newcastle Knights. And Umyla Hanley's case, the fact he's Ellery Hanley's son. All the things you'd expect me to ask about, and hopefully a few more things. But firstly, it's that time of the show. It's birthdays time. Wednesday, January 22, is the birthday of the great Noel Kelly. Wow, what a great fella. Noel Kelly. Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Sydney first, and of course played his club footy at Western Suburbs. Born in 1936, died in 2020. There you go. How about this for another huge name in rugby league, Arthur Beetson. He was born in 1945 on this day, and he died in 2011. Big Artie. Peter Fitzgerald. What a great fella he is. He's 74 today. Peter Fitzgerald, Saints and East. Paul Upfield, Steelers great. Also played for St George and Balmain. 61 today. Craig Salvatore, the great Salvo. He is 59 today. Happy birthday, Salvo. Wow, a lot of players that I'm familiar with today. Jason Lowry turns 55 today, a year younger than me. Happy birthday, Jason Lowry. Played for the rest of the world around the Super League war time. And the late, great Terri Hill, born in 1972 and very sadly died in 2024. Terri Hill. Now, let's scroll down a bit. That's a lot of players that I'm super familiar with. Jamin Lowe from the Cowboys, Souths and Melbourne, turns 42 today. Happy birthday, Jamin Lowe. Sika Manu, he turns 38 today. The Tonga and New Zealand international, finished his career at Hull FC. Dean Vare, threw that great pass at Wembley. He's 35 today. Played for London Broncos a couple of years ago. And speaking of former London Broncos, Errol Carter, the Turkey international who played for Cornwall and London Broncos. He's just 29 today, and I think I might be mistaken, but I think he's faced a few sort of health challenges in recent times. So I hope you're doing well there on your 29th birthday today, Errol. From the women's game, Aneta Nuasala. She turns 30 today. She's represented New Zealand and Samoa in the women's game. And Paul Alamotti, Canterbury, Penrith, memorably in the grand final last year. Memorable performance there, or in the final series. He is just 21 today. Okay, we'll take a break and then we're off to Leigh Sports Village. We're at Salford have just cancelled the media day, but we're at a club where there's no dramas and the media day's gone ahead, and I've got Adrian Lam here from Leigh Leopards. Adrian, how's your off-season?
Yeah, so far so good. It's coming around pretty quickly. We're on in 2 weeks, so a lot of new faces into the club and into the group, and have worked really hard to form relationships and better relationships, so it's ongoing.
How much time do you spend going over last year and reviewing it, and how much time is just looking forward, especially with the group changing so much?
Yeah, not too much, to be fair. You know, obviously, Challenge Cup win in 23 and winning our first semi-final in 24 and finishing fourth. So we're heading in the right direction as a club, and the changes we made, we feel, are making the squad stronger, with a lot of youth and the next best talent that we feel are coming in. So we're pretty excited about that. We understand that takes time, but we're also in a position, I feel, to be aggressive with the recruitment. So Uncle Derek has done his job there, and the boys are pretty focused at the moment. We just finished a training camp summer training camp in Lanzarote, which was very beneficial for us. So 2 weeks away from a friendly against Warrington.
Without inviting you to give yourself a wrap up, what are the changes that have happened here since you arrived? I mean, is it a very different place?
Yeah, completely. I remember turning up on the first day and only 6 players being in here. So a lot's changed, and every year we've rotated probably. I think first year was 13 players, second year was 13 players, and I think this year was 12 players. So obviously the philosophy is around a style of rugby that we want to play, but also to bring the players in to suit that style. So a lot of our older heads in for the first 2 years, but we've certainly, you can see a style there that we're changing around the philosophy. So a lot more youth, a lot more speed, a bit of X factor, and just bringing plenty of energy to the whole group.
When you got here, did you have any doubts about the longevity of the club in Super League when you said only a handful of players came to the first training session?
Yeah, it's I was heading back to Australia after Wigan, and I remember having a conversation with Mal Meninga about the opportunity to potentially come to Leigh, and he said that if you could make it work, it'd be the best thing you'd ever do in your life. So I remember speaking with Chris Chester, the director of rugby, about the job, and I just said, look, whether I come or not, there's two players that you need to probably sign with Leigh for next year, whether I'm here or not, and these are the two players, and that was it. The conversation was left, and I think it was 2 or 3 days later, it was breaking news that Leigh had signed their first two players, and that's what turned my head. It completely flipped me on my head, and I just thought, if they're going to bring in the players that I like, this we could do anything. So here we are. So I think we're heading in the right direction. We've got an owner that's very passionate and loves his rugby league. A little bit crazy at times, but that's what we love about him. And he certainly wears his heart on the sleeve. And this town at the moment is buzzing. It's probably in a golden era for Leigh, rugby league, and the fans, and like I said, the town. So you come to a game here, and it's an event. There's things to do, and fireworks and shows and bands and all that. And I think a lot of other Super League clubs are following in our footsteps in that area off the field. And we're working hard to make sure that we're there or thereabouts on the field.
What was it like watching the Pacific Championships, watching Australia win? Was that difficult?
No, not at all. I've been assistant there since 2016, so I made a decision to pull out this year and get some time off in the off season and enjoy a bit of a holiday, which I did. But it was very glad for Mal and all the staff there that they won that. Also very happy to go and watch Lachlan Lam captain PNG up in PNG, which was a massive honour, and good to be watching rugby league still in November. So got a bit of a break now, so feeling fresh and into it and ready to go. And Papua New Guinea in the NRL, I know you probably got asked about it when you were down there a lot. Justin Olam's one guy who had some reservations about it, said that the pathways weren't there and all that sort of stuff. What are your thoughts? And obviously everyone's asking you whether you'd like to be involved, so I'll be the latest bloke to ask you that question as well. Yeah, well, firstly, I think I was involved with what we created, Team Kummel, 2011, 12 and 13, where I drove to get a Q Cup team in the competition to only be followed up by an NRL. So I was very passionate about that. I still am, about the country, and I'd love to be involved in some capacity at some stage in the future. But I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to Papua New Guinea. There's not much there to cheer about in the sense of sports at this level. So to be able to get an NRL team up there every other week, for that country being the only sport country in the world where rugby league is national sport, will be absolutely unbelievable. And I think it'll be brilliant. I think the players will love it. I think the country's an amazing country, and I think it'll be great for rugby league.
I mean, for the players now, it's no point asking them, would you like to play for this team, because most of them will be retired by the time the team comes in. But for a coach, there's no expiry date. So, you do get you will be, I'm sure, talked about it as a possible inaugural coach there.
Yeah, I think, I'll be coaching for another 5 or 6 years at least at the moment. So I've always been passionate about Papua New Guinea and rugby league there. That's never been a doubt. I made a decision not to play for Australia way back in 1995 to pull on the jersey for Papua New Guinea. So people there know how passionate I am about the country. I'd like to be involved with the franchise moving forward at some point. I don't know whether it's at the very start or halfway through or at the end. Whenever that is, I'm sure I'll get around to that. But I'd like to be involved there. I think I've helped build the sport and given some exposure around the world with rugby league as a player and then a coach, and I think, like I said, it's an amazing time for Papua New Guinea. As much as I'm relating it to Leigh here and what we've done at Leigh and the town growing and it being an incredible time, I think it's going to be an incredible time for Papua New Guinea from this point on.
I'll ask you one question, more domestic question. What do you think of the third round of the Challenge Cup and the professional teams coming in so early? Some people have expressed some reservations about amateurs playing against pros, from both sides, from the pro side and the amateur side. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, really. I mean, we've always got to be supportive of the RFL and the direction they want to head in. It is going to be a difficult job to to play in between a friendly of Warrington and a Thursday night turnaround against Wigan in round one. Our priority, you would feel, should be round one and that Thursday night game, but we've got a Challenge Cup maybe Friday, Saturday or Sunday before that, which may hinder things. So for me, it's a difficult one because it's the timing of it this year isn't great, especially being the team to play Wigan in round one on a Thursday night. So having said that, we'll do as a told, mate, and support what is what the rugby league sees, I guess, as getting out to the country and showing rugby league to all of our fans, not only in the Super League clubs, but thereabouts.
I better ask a Vegas question. A, would you like to send Wigan to Vegas with their tail between their legs? And B, would you like to be one of the teams to go next year?
Yes and yes.
Thanks, Adrian.
No worries, mate.
We're back at Leigh's Media Day. I've got Lachlan Lam here, son of the last bloke we spoke to. How's your off-season been, Lachlan? You obviously started with footy in back home in Australia and New Guinea.
Yeah, it was. We played the first test in Fiji and the second one in New Guinea, and then we played the final in Sydney. So it was good to get around to all those places. It just becomes a long year though after the long Super League season, and then we play 30 odd games, maybe a few more than that, and then we finish in middle of November. So it was good to start my off season that way, and then it was good to just kick the feet up after that.
And you get some time off training, I guess, which means you're not training in the snow. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it is. It is. We I got away with my partner, and then we had 4 or 5 weeks at home over Chrissy, so that was very good. But then it was snowing when I come back anyway, so it didn't really matter. I still had to do it.
A lot of excitement in PNG at the moment, isn't there? Can you give us an insight into what it's like? And I guess you'd already left when the news came through, but it was widely foreshadowed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is very exciting. The people love rugby league. Obviously, it's a national sport, so we did well in that Pacific tournament, and then for that news after to come out about the NRL team, it's exciting times.
Will you still be playing when they come in 2028? Is it something you'd like to be involved in?
Yeah, I'm younger than you think, mate. I'm only 26 at the moment, so people are playing till the mid-30s at the moment. So it's definitely something I'd think about for sure.
Has there been any conversation? Do you even know? I mean, we don't even know the people involved now, do we? We know, is Andrew Hill? Andrew Hill's the chief executive, isn't he? So they got a CEO.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I'll be honest. I just know that it was a chance of happening. We found that out sort of in the middle of that tournament, and then it's just I think the people involved there in the country, they'll get around it big time. But we don't know too much about it yet, the logistics and all that sort of stuff, the living, the travel. We don't know anything at the moment, so it just sounds really good.
I'll just ask you 2 more questions about that. We'll move on to Leigh. I'll ask them both at once. One is, people obviously saying that there'll be hard to get people to go up there and live, right? That one thing. And second, Justin Olam saying, well, they're not really ready because of the pathways. Yeah. So just those. I'll ask you both those questions at once. What do you think of those 2 issues?
Yeah, I think Port Moresby is a beautiful place as well. It's each time I go there, it gets a little bit better. They're adding to it. There are restaurants and bars and cafes. It's going upwards, and I'm enjoying my time every time I go there. So a little bit more each time. So it's actually a beautiful place to live. People probably judge it by its cover sometimes, but it's. I've had a lot of fun there since I've been there. Yeah,
awesome. And how much have you looked back at last year? Have you looked back at... Obviously, most things went right last year. It was a good season, really, wasn't it? I mean, aside, you didn't win the comp, but pretty much everything else went right. Or what areas do you think lessons there are from last year?
It was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was... I thought the start of the season was poor from us. I think we had a lot of injuries and we didn't manage probably our games too well there, and we had to run it down the back end of the year, and credit to us. I think we did that and we had a good finish.
And just in a couple of weeks with the Challenge Cup, I'll just ask a few people about this. There's a situation where the amateur teams are going to be playing against pros, and both sides of the coin, both the pros and the amateurs, are sort of think this is good, but there's some reservations. What do you think? Since you've been here, have you been in that situation where you're playing against amateurs?
I haven't. No, I played a couple of games in Champ, and but I hadn't played anything below that at the moment. So it's exciting. It's if that's what we have to do. None of us are opposed to it. So we all enjoy the we all enjoy the challenge of it, mate. And it's obviously comes in a stage earlier this year. So it's just something we have to get our head around.
We're back at Leigh's Media Day. We're at Leigh Sports Village, and it's great in there. There's actually more players and journos. So I've got Umyla Hanley here. Mate, what do you make of all this? How's your pre-season been?
Yeah, pre-season's been really good. Boys have been flying. We just got off our pre-season camp in Lanzarote. Personally, I feel like I've took a few steps up this pre-season, which is obviously a good thing. But now everyone's in high spirits, and I think we're ready to go for our first pre-season game against Warrington.
What are your personal sort of goals this year, Umyla? Like, what sort of things do you set yourself to do?
I think last year was like kind of, for me, my breakout season where I played regularly, like almost every game. I think this season coming is just to stay as healthy as possible and show the rest of the leagues, everyone else what I can do, really.
It was a good year, really, wasn't it, for Leopards last year? You can't be too disappointed. Obviously slow start. That's probably the one thing to fix.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said then, like it's just focusing on people staying fully healthy, and that's just us holding each other accountable and doing all them little bits, like them small jobs that people don't want to do. Maybe if it's coming in 20 minutes earlier, 30 minutes earlier, but I think staying healthy is obviously, as everyone's seen last year for us, is a massive thing, because we lost, I think it was 12 out of 13 games in the first ones, and then back end of the season we ended up winning, the same but winning wise. So yeah, I think the main thing is just us staying healthy, really. And when you play Wigan, do you get extra jeering from the crowd because of who your dad is? Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really try to think about it too much about who I play or anything like that. It's more, if I'm playing at centre, then it's more I'm thinking about who's my opposite centre, or what we basically do our homework on and what we actually train on. Try not to focus too much on the actual situation of who the team is, even if like a parent or anything like that has had some sort of past to do with them. Is that like I'm sure every interview you've done, and this will be the latest, everyone asks you about your family and stuff. Is that what's that like? Is it like you're trying to get out from under that kind of, is it awkward, or is it what's it like to be asked about it all the time? I don't think it's awkward. I don't find it awkward in the slightest, to be honest. I think that everyone knows who my father was, and everyone knows that he was a great player. But I think on my own journey, I think I'm just looking to be my own player. I've not really had any sort of shadow on what he was and what he did for the game, which is great, but just trying to be my own player and do my own thing, really. Were you always going to play rugby league? Yeah, I played it since I was about 5. I did try football, but I was rubbish at it. So yeah, rugby was the way forward, I think. And what's Adrian been sort of focusing on in the pre-season? Is it just been fitness so far, or has he actually talked about goals and for this year? Yeah, he's of course it's fitness. That's what pre-season is. But with Lammy, I think a big thing is this pre-season, especially with all the new faces coming in. It's just more the fact of everyone connecting with each other. I think that this is what that Lanzarote camp was mainly for, really, for everyone to connect together, and I think it has majorly brought us all a bit more together, which is good. So yeah, I think just connecting with everyone, really, that's the main thing, getting right comms. We're still at Leigh's Media Day, and fresh off the plane from Oz, David Armstrong. How are you, mate? Welcome to Leigh.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Tell us, what's surprised you? Anything that you didn't understand or know about the English game? I spoke to Cole Felt yesterday. He said he didn't think they'd be training in the snow. So.
Yeah, a few snowy days here at Leigh, but still went out and trained. So yeah, other than the weather, I think everything's okay over here, and still getting used to it. But yeah, it is what it is. I knew what I signed up for when I was coming over, so all good.
Yeah, there was a bit of a tug of war, wasn't there? Talk us through what happened and how you came to be standing here now.
Yeah, so I originally agreed to stay in Newcastle with the Knights, and just before I was gonna sign everything off, in come Chezzy, and he called me. And him and Lammy, changed my mind over a phone call, and everything just snowballed from there, and happened within a couple hours, and just everything come out then, and was all sealed within the day.
It must have done your head in a little bit. You're young, comparatively young, and it's a lot of pressure from both sides, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It was challenging. It's something I haven't faced before, and it was that. It come down to me having to make a decision, kind of on the spot as well. There was a lot of pressure on me, and I think I made the right one coming over here, and I just can't wait to go out and play now.
How was everyone at the Knights to you and around the club after this all happened? Did it all quieten down after a while? Or
once it all happened, that's a good thing about that club. All the boys and staff are really supportive, and especially the boys over there, they understood where I was coming from. So after it all got kind of happened, all settled down after that, and got on with playing footy.
Is the attraction being able to play at a higher level more, get more field time? And obviously it's a life experience for you. Have you been over this part of the world before?
Yeah. No, I haven't been over this way, and that's probably my main decision of coming over this way was to play first grade week in, week out. The opportunity opened up here, and, Chesney and Lam gave me the call, and I felt like I would have been the wrong thing to turn it down. I could do a lot of travel over here, and on time off I can go see the world and do things you can't really do over in Australia. Like I said, I'm still young and still developing as a player as well, and I think it's a perfect opportunity and perfect comp to do that, and hopefully head back to the NRL one day in the future.
Yeah. And what do you make of the footy over here? It's a bit different? I mean, a lot of people say it's more physical,
Yeah, I watched the boys at the end of last year, and what they did was pretty special, and I think this competition's quality. They got a lot of good players over here, and competitive teams, and you see what Wigan and that beat Penrith just not so long ago. So this comp is still a good comp, and can't wait to play in it.
What parts of Europe are you looking to see? Where do you want to go?
No, I don't know yet. I'll check it all out and tick them off one by one, and hopefully get over there in the sun somewhere and see a beach again. Be good.
You're over here on your own, are you? Or,
with my partner.
Oh,
so
right.
we both moved over and living in Manchester at the moment, so it's nice.
And how have you dealt with just living in England in winter? I mean, there's a lot of everyday life. There's a lot of different things to get used to, isn't there?
Yeah, it's tough to start with. You got the shorter days. The sun's going down at 4 in the arvo, and it's not used to that there kind of stuff. I'm used to long days, hot, and going out and doing stuff. But that all changed over here, and I'm slowly adapting to that.